Good evening. It is Monday, July 9th, 2018. I'd like to welcome you all to the first meeting of the Speedway Town Council. My name is Jeff Matthews, Town Council President. I'd also like to welcome the others that are joining me here this evening. To my far right, or to my closest right, Eileen Fisher.
Good evening.
Vice President David Lindsay.
Good evening.
Councilor Gary Rakes.
Good evening.
Town Manager Jacob Blaisdell.
Good evening.
Our Clerk Treasurer Monty Combs.
Good evening.
And our Town Attorney Bob Clutter.
Howdy do.
Our agenda has been posted, and we will be following that this evening. First on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item number 2 is the approval of the Town Council meeting minutes dated June 11th, 2018. Any changes, corrections, comments? Hearing none, those will be approved. Item number 3, the approval of the memorandum for the June 11th executive session. Those two were distributed. Any questions, adjustments, comments? Hearing none, those two will be approved. Item number 4, approval of the joint executive session dated May 31st, 2018. Those are in your packet as well. Any comments, any adjustments? Hearing none, those will be approved. Got a lot of minutes here. Item number 5, the approval of the memorandum for June 19th, 2018 of the executive session. Any comments, any questions, any changes? Hearing none, those two will be approved as presented. Item number 6, the approval of the memorandum for the June 25th, 2018 executive session. Any questions regarding those? Hearing none, those two will be approved. Item number 7, approval of claims and utility adjustments. Monty?
Thank you, Mr. President. Submitted to you are the claims, first of all, from June the 9th through July 6th. Obviously 4 weeks compared to our normal 2 weeks, and business as normal, as I always say, and approval would be appreciated.
Mr. President, I make a motion that we approve the claims as presented by our clerk treasurer this evening.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the claims as presented. Are there any questions from the audience? Any from council? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's passed 4-0.
Thank you. Utility adjustments represent the same period of time, June the 9th through July the 6th, total of $1,276. Very few for that period of time, which is, again, the 4 weeks, but I appreciate your approval on those as well.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the adjustments to the utilities as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the utility adjustments as presented by our fine clerk treasurer. Are there any questions from the audience? Any from council? Hearing none, I will call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? Passes 4-0. Monty, anything else?
Just quickly, we had our typical June settlement from the Marion County for our property taxes that have been collected, TIF money that's been collected, et cetera. Part of that was on the sewer liens that we placed in the spring. This year was just under $77,000 that we recovered, non-paid. Again, as I always say, 97% of those are outside of the town. And I just look back out of curiosity, and staff's done a great job of doing that, especially Sarah Adams. But since 2014, we've collected over $1 million in unpaid sewer bills over that period of time, either through the treasurer's office by filing a lien, or pre-lien letters that we send out, say please pay by this point, or we file a lien. So have to do it. It is money that's owed the town, and help to keep our sewer lines functioning the way they should, with that money coming back as they should. So just wanted to make you aware of that. That's all. Thanks.
Thank you, Monty. Appreciate it. Item number 8, report from our Department Supervisors. Tim Gropp is first up. Do you want to go ahead and take his?
I won't take his.
Okay.
He should be over. He is still at the information
Oh,
session. I
okay.
believe.
We'll just move him on down the line here.
2500. So hopefully he'll show up here in a little bit.
Okay. We won't hold it against him then.
Start at the bottom.
Well, then we'll go right ahead to the Police Assistant Chief, Chuck Upchurch.
Good evening, Council. First of all, this year's National Night Out, we'll be holding that at Leonard Park on August the 7th. That'll be from 6 to 8 p.m. I'd like to remind everybody that this month's IMS Public Safety Meeting, which was scheduled for July 17th at the Brickyard Crossing, has been canceled. So we will have an August meeting. We're still working on the dates for that because the date that we had is in conflict with the women's golf tournament. So, and we'd like to remind everybody also that we are still accepting applications for this year's Citizens Academy. That will begin on August the 28th. And they can go to our website and get those applications if they would like to attend. So that's all I have, if you have no questions.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Next up, Fire Assistant Chief Chris Milhorn.
Good evening. Hope everyone had a safe and happy 4th. Pretty short for us tonight. We have our 2 recruits. They are back on the street, so they are both doing very well. They were both in the top 8 in the academy, in the recruit school, so we're glad to have them back. So, over the next 3 months, we're going to be sending 5 of our members to the Fire Department Training Network out. It's on the east side of Indianapolis. Quite honestly, it's some of the best training in the country, and we're fortunate to have in our backyard. So we'll be sending those guys over it, I think September, October, November is just when those guys are going. So, lastly, the weather is extremely hot. Our run load does go up a little bit this time of year with heat-related illnesses. Just a couple tips, just a couple reminders. If you can stay in the air conditioning, stay in the air conditioning on days like today, especially if, elderly, if you have chronic illness, those sort of thing. The obvious, drink plenty of water. If you do have to be outside, schedule your outdoor activities carefully. Wear loose, lightweight, light colored clothing. Pace yourself. One big thing that I think some people forget is check on your friends or your neighbors, especially the elderly. If you haven't heard from them for a day or two, make sure they're doing all right. And one of the big things is never leave your children or pets in a car. That's obviously a huge thing. It's a hot topic right now. So that's all I have. You guys have any questions for me?
How busy were we during the 4th of July?
It wasn't too bad, actually. Yeah, it actually wasn't bad at all, really. It goes up, it spikes a little bit, but it wasn't bad.
Good.
So, all right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Next up, Public Works Director Wendell Walters.
Good evening, councilors. Some updates on your utility departments. On the street department side, the Vector truck is out doing sewer cleaning. We are coming across Carsville Road and heading south, so that will continue throughout the summer months. Hopefully we'll have that completed this year, and that'll wrap up the town cleaning on the sewer line system for the year. Just regular maintenance going on at that department. The heat is, we're pulling guys back in earlier in the afternoons, making sure they're hydrated and stuff, so they will be fresh for the next day. On the water department, we've had 2 main breaks in the last couple of weeks. Those streets will be repaired back this week. We're investigating why on Speedway Drive that we're having more main breaks, so the staff down there has been asked to identify needs and wants on that street, and then we'll get back with Jacob and see if we need to go to engineering and do some investment in an older line down through there. The tank painting is on schedule. We gave them some extra hours a weekend or so ago, Saturday and Sunday extended hours to keep it on schedule. They got behind a little bit because of rain. So they are back on schedule now. Hopefully that completion will happen on the end of August timeframe so that we're ready for the Brickyard race. Well, it will be on schedule, so we'll make sure it's on schedule. On the wastewater side, they did find the 2 water leaks that Norms reported about for a little bit. Those have been repaired this week. We got the final repair put in the ground this week. This is on the boiler system that transfer heat to the tanks for the bugs to keep active and everything. So that is setting up overnight, and it'll be re-inspected in the morning because it's a fiberglass pipe. And just on all the departments, we're working on budget preps. Probably driving Jacob and Monty a little crazy with all the questions and concerns, but we will get those to it and then get on the schedule for the hearings. And just an update on the projects real quick. B&O Trail, Calumet showed up today with full crew. We are starting at Lyndhurst out here and working to Winton, and then Winton to Auburn, Auburn to Main Street. So then it will drop back to west of Lyndhurst and go back to Leonard Park, and they have until September 1st to have everything completed, and they are telling us that they will meet schedule. IPL is working with their sub at 16th and Main. There will be lane restrictions and traffic control in that area for this week. They're having to put another line underground, which goes into our alleyway behind 2 businesses, and everybody's been notified of it. The 2018 projects punch list is in repair state. You've seen some activity on the Cord Street up by the car wash. That was a mill out and redo, and they're doing some concrete repair over on Cadillac Drive and some milling there that we're not having positive drainage. And if you've noticed, the P&E trail got paved last week. It was brought from Lyndhurst to the dead end. So that's a positive that that project has been in works for a while, and that's good. MCI, the cable fiber company, will be starting work this week, and you'll see them 26th Street, Lyndhurst, 22nd Street, and 25th Street. So a lot of different activities going on. Everybody be patient and safe and keep an eye out. There's trucks and equipment moving all over town, so keep an eye out. Had to catch me up?
I've got a question.
Sir?
Regarding the water main break on Speedway Drive,
Yes.
does that feed Newby Elementary?
Yes.
So I know we're at the very beginning of July.
Yes.
What are the chances of water disruption for the school once they, and do we have a contingency plan?
Yes. What they have valves in areas that they can control different feeds to that property,
Okay.
and hopefully we're not going to have any more this season, and then we'll identify the need and replacement of that line down
Okay.
there. So,
Okay. That's all I had.
Stay
Just making
positive.
sure.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Hey, Wendell.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Park and Recreation, Tammy Smith.
Good evening. I'll start off with the concerts. They've been going really well. We did have one that we had to cancel due to rain, but we've already rescheduled them for August 2nd, so hopefully we won't have any more rain issues. We've got one this Thursday, the Tomcats. They're a classic rock blues band, so looking forward to that. And then 2 weeks after this Thursday will be My Yellow Rickshaw, and then a week after that will be the one that we had to reschedule, which is Big Roscoe and the Hammers. We've had really good attendance at the concerts. I don't know if anybody's come to any of them, but any of you all, we've had the last one on June 28th was a real fun one, and we had about 350 people there, so a lot of people on their feet. And a lot of requests to bring them back, so we may be looking at that. Summer camps went through great. We had 335 individual slots filled for the 23 camps that we offered. In addition to the camps, our swim lessons were very successful with 130 participants in that. And I just want to publicly thank the building personnel of Speedway High School, Brian Kiefer, Joseph Ross, and Lou Grimes in particular. We had 2 days where water was, we were losing water in the pool. It was dropping rapidly. And I got on the phone and called, and they were responding immediately, and we had no disruptions in any of our classes. So it was really nice working with them. They were right on top of everything. So, and that's all I have today.
Any questions? All right.
Okay.
Tammy, thank you.
Thank you.
And last but not least, economic development. Tardy Tim Gropp, come on up.
Tardy Tim.
Stick.
I like that.
Thank you.
There's only so much of Tim to go around, so trying to appease the public this evening, and we just came, I was late, we were coming from the library tonight. We had a really nice public input session on visioning for 2500 High School Road. Haven't wrapped my head around all of it. I will tell you I was busy the whole night, and all our consultants were busy the entire evening, so really good engagement. A lot of the feedback I heard was very smart questions, really insightful, people trying to understand the project, the costs, everything else. So, and we got a lot of feedback that they like the format and the ability to really give some input. So, not sure about, I kind of heard around 50 or so, but it seemed busier than that. So I'm not sure if everyone got checked in or not. And then we also, we had one gentleman who did a Facebook Live through it as well, and had about 50 people online also giving comment, and he is going to give us a report on that as well. So we didn't know he was going to do that. Made me a little nervous at first, but what's this guy doing? But it was really nice engagement, really thoughtful engagement, really good feedback. I'm excited to open the box and see some of the comments back. So we should be able to report back some of the feedback we got and input. So like I said, I didn't have time to stop, and we stayed as long as we could to still get torn down and back here. But the community was definitely interested. We had Fox 59 show up this evening, so watch your news tonight. You should see a report on it as well. Did a few interviews, so we're excited about the interest in it and the participation. And if anyone still wasn't able to make it tonight but wants to contact us, please get a hold of me at our office. We have additional maps. We have additional comment cards. We received a few comments over the weekend on our website as well. There's a way to submit on the website. So I've gotten some text messages today, various aspects. So a lot of feedback, a lot of input on that development. So we hope to take all that, see if there were any trends, any major things that came out of it that the community really wants to see, and incorporate that into some of the final designs. We take the next step, which is engaging the engineering and getting a deal in place with the developer to start moving dirt as soon as we can out that site. So real encouraging, had a really good time, and excited to see what came out of it. So beyond that, Wendell and I were able to tour the USAC building under construction, get a feel for where they're at. I think it's going to be really exciting when it's done. I'm not sure if you talked about it already. So they're starting the brickwork. They're a little bit of a hold right now while we get the power lines down, which is happening this week, hopefully. But they continue to wrap the brick from the front around. They're going to be cutting in more windows. A lot of that power around there will be buried, so it's going to look really nice in that area. They've added a brand-new two-story entranceway when you walk in. They'll have the nice co-working space, so I'm really excited about the vision and where they're going with that, and it'll be a really nice cleanup of a building on the prominent corner when it's all done. So I know they're excited to get back in there, and I think they are shooting for early November, for it to be completed. So.
Are they going to wrap sorry to interrupt, are they going to wrap the I guess, south side of that building faces Crawfordsville? Do you know?
North side?
Or north side, sorry. Yes.
They're not going to wrap it all, but they're going to be adding some windows, repainting it, adding a doorway back there. The power will go down there. So it'll look a lot different than it does today, but I don't believe that they're doing brick on the north side of it.
Okay.
They're going to wrap about halfway down on the east side and a little bit on the west side. So.
Okay.
So we're excited about that. That's a really nice investment by them. So Also, we continue to talk to Brixmor. We're getting close on the shops. They're in there. It looks like they're stocking shelves, so it shouldn't be too far down the road. We should have an announcement about when those stores will be opening up. And on top of that, the Brixmor redevelopment team is looking to engage the community as well to talk about the future of that site. So we're shooting to do that down the road a few months and just engage in those conversations to see, with all the other great developments going on, how can they spruce up that development as well. So we're excited on that. We're getting really close on the Gilman Street parcel. We've gotten close getting the purchase agreement finalized. We're just down to about the last little sticking point. We'll hopefully get that signed this week or next week. So it's been taking a lot longer than we anticipated. We thought we'd have the purchase agreement done and they'd be in the due diligence, but just different schedules and different things like that. I think we're close though. And Bob, I know you had some communications today. I feel like we're just at that last little negotiation point. We should be about right on target to what we are hoping to accomplish there. So had a very complicated survey on that site due to some easements and everything else. We finally worked through that. That's taken, a survey usually takes about a month. This one's taken us about 4 months to figure out all these, there's old railroad beds and everything else. So I think we're getting close to understanding the site well and moving forward there. And then we did have a meeting with Wilshaw. The apartment side is going really well. They're on target. They're catching up some time that they lost due to weather. We're still waiting. We're well behind on when the hotel side should have started. They're close to getting their construction financing in place. They have the bank in place. We got our side all squared away, ready to go. But until they have the construction financing in place, we will not take out the bond. We're anticipating that happening here in August and getting started as soon as possible. We have requested some documentation from them on timelines and additional information from their bank and everything. So we're waiting that. I have a little bit of information to send their way as well, but we need to get that project started as soon as possible, so we continue to push to get the hotel project off the ground. The flip side of that is the apartments are doing really well. It's been really easy to work with, and in a lot of ways, it's going to be kind of nice to get the construction framing phase out of the way to clear way for the construction of the hotel. That'll help with some of the staging issues that we were concerned about. So always look on the bright side. So that's all I have.
Do you have an update on the hotel that's going out near the interstate?
Yeah, they're still shooting for fourth quarter, getting everything done. They've had no big issues other than when they first started, they had some delays with the ground. Beyond that, everything's gone pretty smooth and it's on target. And I know that the surrounding businesses are excited for that to open, and I anticipate that being open probably early fourth quarter of 2018.
Okay. Anyone else? Thanks, Tim.
All right, thank you.
Next up, report from our town manager, Jacob.
Great. Thank you, Mr. President. Tim, glad to hear that things went well this evening. Appreciate everyone's input and interest in what's going on out there on the west side of town. So great to hear that there's a lot of people interested in what's going on, and it's gotten a lot of attention. So good job with that. Few announcements. We are, as a town, moving forward with applying for the wastewater construction grant through the Office of Community and Rural Affairs. Appreciate some folks wrote some letters in support of the project. That always scores us some extra points, so appreciate folks doing that and supporting the project. And speaking of construction, to Wendell's point, it feels like the entire town is under construction right now, or there's some project going on, whether it's a water tower getting repainted, or paved, or a trail being paved, or road work, or the different businesses around town that are investing in their properties. It's good to see, but it means there's a lot going on. So we just ask folks, as Wendell asked, when you're around those areas, use a lot of caution. We've got a lot of, we want to create a safe work environment for everybody. If you can't avoid the areas altogether, please just be aware and alert and careful when you're around there. And if you're wondering, there's so much going on, how do I know when and where that's happening? That's a great question. I'm glad you asked. We have, we're doing a really good job, and Michelle in our office is doing a good job of pushing information out on social media and through our app. There's a town app. So if you haven't liked or followed the town on Facebook, you can do so. We're pushing a lot of information out, not just, hey, there's a road closed, there's construction going on here or there, or there's a water main break, please avoid this area, but just general information with the town, stuff like the information session that we had tonight on 2500. So we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, at Speedway_IN, and then again, there's a town app, and we can push information out. You have to select to allow that to receive push notifications, but if you do that, I promise you we won't pester you constantly. Just when there's important information we're trying to get out, you'll get an alert, and we hope it's helpful to folks. That's all I have.
Thank you, Jacob. Next up, report from our town attorney, Bob Clutter.
I have nothing to report this evening.
Finally. All right. Thank you.
Wow.
Thanks, Bob. Next up, report from council members, Eileen Fisher.
Nothing this evening, thanks.
Vice President David Lindsay.
I would just like to welcome City County Councilor Janice McHenry, who stopped by tonight. Apparently, the council has a Monday off, and she joined us tonight. Welcome. Other than that, I have nothing else.
Thank you, David. Next up, Councilor Gary Rakes.
Same report as David. Thanks, Janice, for being here with us.
Yeah, and I too would like to welcome Janice and everyone else that came this evening. It was short and sweet, and with that note, we'll call this meeting adjourned at 7:26.